So much kind of picks up pace as we look toward Christmas. We've begun our parties, we've begun the planning, the shopping, the gift wrapping, even the gift giving, a lot of baking, the cookies and the dinners. And we get caught up at the surface, and often with just the eyes that we're given, we see what's in front of us. But underneath it, there's so much more. There's an entire world of life, and actually an exquisitely beautiful world of life. Every single Advent season is filled with opportunity, the possibility of living a deeper life and living a fuller life. And if we make a choice now to take these coming days seriously, we will not miss the opportunity to draw more deeply into the heart and the life that God is inviting us to through Advent. We all have within us something of an adventure spirit, a desire to set out on a journey, to surmount various obstacles, and to arrive at a destination in full celebration of having achieved a great outcome. The greatest of adventures is actually the one that unfolds in the recesses of the human heart. The adventure to come past all the obstacles that the world presents and into the full grace of God, that we would live forever. I'd like to invite you to join us on that type of adventure this Advent season. Over the next 4 weeks, along with the Adore Advent Journal, we'll be unpacking a lot of the themes of the liturgy and the movements of the church's cycle to enter more profoundly into the season that sits before us. We'll focus on themes that include watchfulness for the coming of Christ, attentiveness to his presence within us, an awareness of how close he truly is and coming near to our hearts and our world, and then even dwelling in its midst, Emmanuel, God who is with us. And unfolding these themes with the help of the church and written meditations, our goal is to undertake that journey of the heart, where we confront the things that have clouded up or confused us in this past year, that together we would be changed as this season is meant to change us. And then making this pilgrimage as a family of God, we'd come into the fullness that he has for us, to arrive together at that manger scene in Bethlehem, to adore the King of Kings who's taken up flesh, that we could see him and know him and love him. Hello everyone, my name is Father John Burns, and I'm so blessed to be able to walk with you in this journey through Advent. Our faith, our whole faith, is really about an adventure, a pilgrimage, really a journey home. For me, a helpful image really for the constant invitation of the Lord to go more deeply occurred a number of years ago when I actually was learning how to scuba dive. We go out on a boat, right, way out onto the sea, and you find a coral reef or a place where you're going to be diving, but up at the surface, all you see is the waves, you notice the weather, the light, the wind, and you kind of are excited, anticipating, but not really sure what you're going to find. So you suit up, you put on all your gear. When you're ready, you drop in. And I'll never forget the first time this happened, because I was completely stunned by how much more there was there. That from the surface of the sea up on the boat, all I could see was the ocean. But as soon as I came beneath the surface, everything changed. The sound was different. You're in a different medium. Light was different. Movement is different. A whole new world comes to life before your eyes. That there's coral of all these different colors. There's seaweed and kelp moving slowly with the currents of the sea. All these different kinds of fish of every shape and form and color. All of it just bursts before your eyes, and you realize that this was right underneath. You couldn't perceive it before as long as you stayed up at the surface. And even in that first dive, I remember thinking, man, this is something like our life of faith. That we get caught up at the surface, but underneath it, there's so much more. The church in her wisdom over the years has articulated that as the interior life. That's the term that we use for the fact that beneath the surface of the heart, within us, there's an entire reality unfolding. When we refer to this as the interior life, what we're saying is that it's God who comes to be with us, and he comes to be with us to share his life with us and expand that life within us. And so the perpetual invitation of our whole faith is to live in the midst of the world, but to also be completely convinced that there's just so much more than meets the eye. That within the heart is where God abides and where he wishes to constantly invite us to a deeper way of living. Advent, permeated as it is with rich scriptures and beautiful prayers, that rhythm of the church underneath what's going on outside, provides for us maybe the best invitation of the entire liturgical year to draw deeply into the heart. Now, we miss that if we just let ourselves get too busy. And that's both the challenge and the rich opportunity of the Advent season, because it brings to us so many joyful encounters along with so much to do. So my invitation, really my hope in the days to come, is that you'll be able to find a place, a space, and a rhythm each day to pause, to sit back in the midst of everything that's going on, and to ponder the deeper realities. There's a reason that the church starts her liturgical year, the new year, with Advent. We clock our time differently than the secular world does. And the first season of our liturgical calendar is just that, of preparation. Preparation for the coming of the light, that for the rest of the year we would live in that light. And so as we begin this journey, if we engage this adventure well, then we'll let the season do what it's meant to do, which is prepare us well for all the rest that are to come. And then, if we can live with this mindset of faith and openness to grace, we recognize the ebb and the flow, the passing of the seasons year after year after year is meant to constantly be washing over our hearts, softening the places that have become embittered or hardened with the passage of time or the prevalence of sin. And all of liturgy is oriented toward helping us worship the Lord rightly, in spirit and in truth. So it's just a good question to ponder. What needs to change? What's not there that you know should be there? What do you wish you could get rid of? What would it look like in this season for your life to draw closer to Mary's life and closer to Joseph's life? That you would be able to welcome the presence of Christ living in your midst? What needs to change for your life to look more like Christ's life? These are the ponderings that should permeate our Advent, because we begin anew each year as Advent begins. Our new year as believers is oriented toward the eternal horizon. And what an invitation that is to be transformed by the renewal of our minds.